We the people. Such iconic words. Well, there's few things that irritate me as much as people who gripe about everything that's wrong in their community, but then they never do anything about it. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce to you two people who did do something about their complaints. First, let me tell you about A.J. Taylor. A.J. Taylor has been out of the Georgia public school system for years, and he has no children of his own that are part of the school system. But as he got interested in the seizure-safe school movement that's coming across America, he started doing research on what he could do. He remembered being a teenager and worrying about who would take care of him if he had a seizure. He got involved with research and spearheaded a movement in Georgia that has made it the most recent state to adopt seizure-safe schools and enforcing it for students. Next, I am delighted to introduce you to Angie Nieters. Angie had been aching for a way to keep her daughter Jami alive, who happened to be the victim of SUDEP when she was 14 years old. After much grief and consulting with others, doing some research, she came up with an idea for Jami's Law. She talked to her state representative, who happens to be the majority whip of Kentucky, and they have drafted a bill that will very likely become one of the first laws in the country that requires that when doctors make a diagnosis of a person being epileptic, they have to educate that person and or their caregivers about the risk of SUDEP. Think about all the lives that is going to save. After you hear these two people talk, you are going to thank God that such people still live in America. Enjoy the show.
Epilepsy is an invisible disability. It can strike at the most unexpected moments, like the most devious gangster. Epilepsy is a criminal. The epilepsy gangster steals money from people. It doesn't matter if he steals it from college funds, whether it's from retirement plans, and some of his victims have to choose between spending money for food or spending it on medicine. The epilepsy gangster robs people of relationships and job opportunities. But most diabolical of all, the epilepsy gangster kills. Like all criminals, the epilepsy gangster must be stopped. Watch Tim Ulmer and his gang you're meeting, who are committed to ending the crime spree of the epilepsy gangster.
Ladies and gentlemen, with me is Mrs. Angie Nieters, and she is the driving force in Kentucky of Jami's Law. And when Angie's daughter died at the age of 14 to SUDEP, Angie took it upon herself to see that her daughter lived on. And she's done so working with legislators in Kentucky, and it's going to be one of the very first laws in the country where doctors are required to tell their new diagnoses about the risk of SUDEP. And so, Angie, welcome to our show tonight.
Hello.
Tell us very briefly how the Epilepsy Gangster came into your family's life.
So, the Epilepsy Gangster invaded our lives February of 2014 when Jami was first diagnosed with absence seizures. It was just the staring spells when it started. And 6 months later, Jami had her first tonic-clonic seizure. She was admitted to the ER, and she had another one right there in the ER. So she stayed in the hospital for 2 nights and that's when she was officially diagnosed with epilepsy, and that is when it all started.
At the time of the diagnosis, had anyone told you about SUDEP?
No. The first time I heard about SUDEP was 2019, July of 2019, when Cameron Boyce passed away from SUDEP.
And when did Jami pass away?
Jami passed away on September 11th, 2019. She'd come home from school that day, and just a happy-go-lucky, her normal self. 14-year-old girl, made herself a grilled cheese sandwich. That was her favorite thing. And she was talking about her plans for school the next day. She just went to her room, and 45 minutes later, we just peeked in to check on her, and she wasn't responding. So I went over to, kind of shake her, and she wasn't moving, and I turned her over and noticed she wasn't breathing. Immediately, my husband began CPR. I called 911, and the first responders arrived shortly after and started taking over CPR. She was immediately taken to the hospital via ambulance, and when we got there, the doctor came in the room and told us that there was nothing they could do, that my daughter had passed away. The coroner came in there, and he treated it like it was a crime scene. He told us that it wasn't normal for a 14-year-old girl that age to just die. It was awful.
This was only 2 months after you heard of Cameron Boyce's.
Yes.
Yes. And no one had told you and your husband, Chad, that this could pertain to you.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It was a nightmare.
What kind of girl was Jami?
Jami was just a happy-go-lucky, fun-loving girl who loved life. She loved animals. She just loved everyone. She was such a sweetheart. There was a young lady who she went to school with who had a lot of, she had some growth abnormalities, and she had over 32 surgeries. So she was on a feeding tube, and Jami actually skipped her lunch to go in the office while this girl had her feeding tube, and Jami would sit in there with her so she wouldn't be alone.
Beautiful. We need plenty of heroes in this world.
Yes. Jami, a lot of people never meet their superheroes, but I gave birth to mine. Jami was my superhero, and she was so brave. She never let epilepsy define her. In her 14 years of life, she taught me more about bravery. She was just smiling no matter what. So I just want her legacy to live on, and her smile.
How have you tried to make her legacy live on?
Well, 4 years ago, I started the group Jami's Law. I wanted to do something to honor my daughter so that after I was gone, she would continue to live on forever. By creating this group, I have brought people from around the world together. I have met people from different countries. It's been amazing how many people have come together in this group. We have over 2,000 members. And now we are in the process of getting Jami's Law passed. We've already gone to the state representative.
When I had the chance to talk to Kentucky Majority Whip Jason Nemeth about Jami's Law, this is what he had to say.
My knowledge of epilepsy, I think, is probably what the general citizen knows, very little. It's seizure-related, and it's scary and dangerous, but you didn't know much about it. I met with her because she was a constituent, and when she came in there, and she had a important story to tell, a very important issue, and that is that her daughter had died of SUDEP, something as I said I hadn't heard of before, and she was and she told a harrowing story. I'm a father of three, and I could see that I could have been and can be in the position that she's in. It was a mother, right? It was a citizen. It was somebody who had something on her heart, and she wanted to take the tragedy that she had been through and was still going through, supposed to be going through it for the rest of her life, wanted to take that and make some kind of good out of it. And, as a legislator, I think most legislators who run for office do it to try to make the world a better place. I really believe that. I try to put myself in that category. And so I hear I'm on the other side of a desk of a mother that's, showing her heart to me and trying to say, look, I want to use this tragedy in my own life to improve Kentucky. And so I'm really thankful that she came to me and that I represent her, and maybe we will be able to make this happen.
What was your motivation for doing this?
Just how abruptly, that finding my daughter like that, it was just such a shock. And I just don't want other parents or other people to feel this way. I want them to be informed. It's infuriating that nobody is informed. I mean, everybody should know about this.
Very simply, what's Jami's law going to do?
Well, there's 3 sections. Section 3 just it names it Jami's law. Section 1 says that that when someone has epilepsy, that the health facility or health provider informs the parents of and the patient, if the patient's of appropriate age, what SUDEP is. So okay, you've got epilepsy, so let's make sure you understand what SUDEP is, so you can protect yourself and take protective steps, and then if something happens, that you can react in the right way, so that you don't have that you don't die of something you never heard of. And so this will help that situation. But it also, because what we found is that, or what Angie and others have found, is that there's not enough knowledge as to how pervasive is this? How pervasive is it when people die of epilepsy and so forth? So in Kentucky, when we have an autopsy, this is one of the things that we're going to be studying or looking into, is it check the box and is on the autopsy as to whether or not somebody died of epilepsy or SUDEP, and so we can better monitor the numbers and know how big of a problem it is. So we're really excited about the improvements that we can make for Kentucky, but also really excited about maybe, little old Kentucky might, help get the other states in order and to follow our lead and maybe even improve it in other ways. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and thankful that Angie has contacted me and let me be part of this.
I think when a patient is diagnosed with epilepsy, they should immediately be warned of the risk of SUDEP and ways to possibly prevent it from happening, or at least to know, because there's nothing worse than being completely blindsided by it.
Why do you think they don't inform you?
I was always told that they don't want to scare the patients.
But seems to me there's lots of threatening news that doctors might give people
Right.
Anyway, so why would people with epilepsy be any different?
I really don't understand. I mean, when you look at statistics, more people pass away from SUDEP a year as compared to SIDS. Less people die from SIDS than SUDEP, yet when you leave a hospital with a newborn, you're warned of the risk of SIDS, but they're not afraid to scare people of the risk of SIDS. So I really don't understand.
Before we close, Angie, is there any word of advice that you have to leave parents with?
Yeah, so I would just caution you on the side of, if you have a child or a loved one that you are caring for who has epilepsy, I would look into getting some kind of seizure detection device. There are many out there, like the MFit. It goes underneath the mattress and it records seizure activity. It sends off an alarm. There's also seizure detection watches and video monitors, things like that. I would definitely look into something like that, because peace of mind is worth everything.
It's so important that people like Angie, these are people who live their lives. They're raising their families. They're going to ball games. They're doing all the things. They're going to work. They're doing all the things that regular citizens do. I want to note how important it is that they get involved, like Angie did. Had she not reached out to me, who knows what would have happened. Now, if we can get this passed, and I'm confident we will, we may be able to save some lives here. And if Angie hadn't picked up the phone and got involved, that would have happened. And so I want to encourage everybody that when they have something of importance, to reach out to the policymakers, whether it's at your city level or state level or whatever it is, to reach out to them, because we're trying. Most legislators are trying to make a difference. And so if there's something that you think is important, step up to the plate and let's get some things done. And most good things start from citizen-led initiatives like this one from Angie.
Well, Angie, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I know how painful this has been to fight, but it seems that taking up this fight has probably done a lot to revitalize you.
Yes, definitely has.
Well, God bless you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Danny Stanton spent many days on this field, But just before his 5th birthday, he had a seizure and died from sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. We started the Danny Did Foundation as a promise to Danny to protect other families who face seizures. Keeping that promise would make our son happy.
Connect with us at dannydid.org to learn more and to donate.
And enjoy your life just like Danny did.
Tim always knew the world was made of different people, the idea of serving others, and loving the United States. Epilepsy made that difficult his entire life, particularly in keeping him out of the Navy. After several failures, the chance came to teach English in communist China. Going to the Chinese university, he was the first foreigner most had met, and he became their only American friend. Everyone discovered that people shouldn't base their friendships solely on nationalities.
I was glad to answer their questions because for the first time in my life, I saw that God had a mission for me. I became proud of my epilepsy, and I realized that I was serving on a mission for my country's image that was bigger than anything I'd imagined as a kid. At the same time, I was serving God.
Read the ebook, Involuntary Mission in China with a Thorn in the Flesh, to learn about Tim's struggles and discoveries. Ebook available on Amazon.
On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 56 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Congratulations, AJ. I know you waited a long time for this, so congratulations. Give him a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a major trend going across America called seizure-safe schools. And that's where parents and teachers, educators are looking to make schools a safe climate for students who might be epileptic. And we're fortunate to have with us tonight Mr. AJ Taylor, who spearheaded the successful drive to make AJ's law go into effect in the state of Georgia. AJ, welcome to our show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about when the Epilepsy Gangster first intruded upon your life.
Yeah, so I had my first seizure when I was 14 years old. Had it in my house in the shower. And my parents heard me having the seizure in the shower, and it was new for my whole family. Nobody in my family had ever had epilepsy before or seizures. So I had a couple more, and they ended up diagnosing me with epilepsy a few months after my first seizure. So I'm 29 now, so I've lived with epilepsy more than half my life. So it's been a while.
Congratulations, though. What were your hopes before your seizures? What were your hopes for your life?
I think that's a hard question because at 14, you're still trying to discover yourself, right? As a teenager, you're still trying to figure out the way of life, and it's already an awkward stage in general.
I'm even finding that at the age of 60. Ask my
Right. No, for sure.
Had you been active in politics before this?
No, actually. Politics weren't my favorite thing in the world, to be honest. Much like most people, I feel like.
True.
But in 2019, I believe, I was on Facebook and I saw a video of Sherry Dudeau and the Texas seizure-safe schools law being passed. So I was like, I wonder if they have that in Georgia. So I started researching. And I saw there was 12 other states, including Paul's Law by Colleen and Paul in New Jersey.
I've had them on the show.
Right. And they were my Sherry and Colleen and Sydney Crunk, who passed the legislation first in Kentucky, were all my mentors throughout the process. But I was just researching what states had done this. Was Georgia on that list? And Georgia wasn't on that list. So I was like, how can we get Georgia on the list? So I just researched seizure-safe schools, and Colleen's page, National Advocate for Seizure-Safe Schools, popped up. And I got plugged in and had a conversation with Colleen, and the whole process began from there. And I think throughout that process, you see that most people are willing to learn. You just have to give them a chance to learn.
Bravo. First off, tell us in your own words, what is AJ's law going to do in Georgia schools?
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot of different movements for seizure-safe schools, right? Each state is different, but the main premise is to have a certain amount of teachers and staff trained in the school that know how to not only recognize a seizure, but know how to respond first aid, because as we that have epilepsy or are in the community know, like, those first seconds are crucial. So it's basically recognizing that it's happening and how to do the initial first aid. And then the second main piece is having seizure action plans on file for students that already have diagnosed epilepsy. So it goes more into detail of, what medications they take, what are specific triggers for them, different things like that. Then we have where school bus drivers will also be trained as well. Because with youth, you see sometimes kids that ride the school bus and will have seizures based on the light coming through the trees.
What was your motivation to do so since you were done with school?
I think everyone wants to make an impact, right? They want to make things better for the next generation.
I do want to thank first AJ Taylor, who, AJ, I guess we've been working on this bill for what, 12 months, 16 months? I mean, feels like almost 2 years, I think, to get to this place.
So like I said earlier, I'm AJ Taylor. I've been working with Senator Anna Vitarte on this for a while now. Thank you for letting me be here. I've been living with epilepsy since 2008, having my first seizure at 14 years old after not having a single seizure prior or any kind of medical issue up until that point. I'm now 28, officially making it half my life being living with epilepsy. At 14, I became a stat. I was the 1 out of 26 that would develop epilepsy. I was the 1 out of 10 that would have a seizure in their lifetime. At 14, I saw epilepsy change my life. I saw doctor after doctor. I took test after test and went through medication after medication. I saw tears in my mom's eyes I never wanted to see, and worry in my dad's face. I'll never forget going to school the day after my first seizure and telling one of my friends what had happened. The response isn't that the weird thing where you just fall on the ground and shake. I was weird. I was different from the other kids. My parents had conversations with teachers every year when I went to school. But I went to school every year wondering, who's going to take care of me if I have a seizure here at school? Are they going to know not to stick something in my mouth, not knowing that I could break my teeth? Will someone not know to lean me on my side so I don't choke on my own spit or the blood coming from my blood-bitten tongue? Will they know to move items out of the way, such as desk or chairs, so I don't injure myself? Will they know to time the seizure, or will they be scared of me when I'm on the floor? Over the years, I've had to teach people how to take care of me because I wasn't sure if I was safe. I never want a student experiencing a seizure disorder or epilepsy, which is already hard enough, to feel like they're unsafe walking into school.
Did you have problems along the way?
I don't think we had problems. I think it was a lot of educating, like, why we need it, right? I learned a lot about the political process through this from the senator, the people I worked with. I think they learned from me. The first step was we testified in the Senate committee. So I got to speak, and I brought along, the senator requested me to bring along a doctor, a teacher that had dealt with epilepsy in schools, and a parent. And we had a teacher that was actually a teacher at my high school growing up. And she came and spoke about her son that actually died from SUDEP. So she knew both sides of the coin. And then we had the parent of a current student in school, which was really awesome. So in that Senate committee meeting, they got the full picture, right? They got all corners of the picture of what we're trying to paint of why this is important.
So let's come together in unity today on this bill, and let's move it forward, because epilepsy and seizure disorders do not discriminate between race, age, gender, religion, economic status, or political party. So let's get school personnel trained and make families and students feel more safe. Thank you.
Senator Anavitarte, he kind of surprised me. We got up there and he was explaining the bill, and I was like, okay, like, here we go. And he was like, I have Amendment 1 to this bill to name the bill after AJ Taylor, and I didn't see that was coming.
AJ, what's one word of advice that you have for anyone with epilepsy?
I think if we're going to break stereotypes and break the glass ceilings, if you will, then we have to share our stories to make it more accessible and to make others more knowledgeable about it.
Well, AJ, your story is certainly going to educate many others here about coming out and sharing their story. And I'm very grateful for sharing the experience with us. It's really exciting to hear.
The Defeating Epilepsy Foundation is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping those battling epilepsy. We provide advocacy and educational services to those battling epilepsy at a global level. For more information about our projects and services, please visit our website at www.defeatingepilepsy.org or email us at info@defeatingepilepsy.org. Please like us on social media and follow us so you can see how we are making a difference. Thank you for your support, and together we will defeat epilepsy.
Hi, I am Natalie Beavers, and I am one of the many survivors living with epilepsy. My life has been filled with many ups and downs. It's just a part of life. I am proud of the person that I am becoming, and as I stand in the face of this relentless disorder called epilepsy, I want you all to know that I am me.
This man's life story is a testament to unwavering determination and remarkable achievements, even in the face of adversity. His journey to becoming the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court is marked by personal resilience and professional excellence, all while contending with epilepsy. Being a true born leader was first indicated in his grades at school, then starring in school plays and music, and on to becoming captain of the football team. But it wasn't until he entered Harvard University that his passion for studying law was kindled inside of him. Eventually, he became managing editor of the Harvard Law Review and graduated magna cum laude from both Harvard University and Harvard Law School. He served as a law clerk for Justice William Rehnquist, an experience that would later become instrumental in his own judicial career. Throughout his legal career, he displayed a remarkable and unwavering boldness for justice. He argued numerous cases before the Supreme Court and earned a reputation as a skilled advocate. Epilepsy, a condition he has courageously managed since his teenage years, never deterred him from his goals. Instead, it became a driving force behind his determination to succeed. This man's resilience in the face of epilepsy has always inspired many. In 2005, this man was nominated by the President to become the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. His tenure has been marked by a commitment to impartiality, fairness, and the rule of law. His influence on landmark cases has shaped the legal landscape of the United States. In essence, this man's life and achievements are a testament to his extraordinary intellect, dedication to the law, and unwavering determination, even in the face of challenges posed by epilepsy. His personal and professional journey exemplifies the triumph of the human spirit in the pursuit of justice. This person is Chief Justice John Roberts. You can't fight for your rights if you don't know what they are.
Ladies and gentlemen, these soldiers are preparing to go off to war. And Epilepsy Gangster, these soldiers are already in war against getting rid of you. Ladies and gentlemen, may you be seizure-free and God bless you.